2015 to present day Lexus RC350 Sport axle back / muffler delete. The customer supplied the Remark muffler delete for this RX350. I'm going to install it. I'm going to link up all the parts in the description of the video, along with the tools I use to install it. There is a big difference in how it sounds between the stock version. Stay tuned to the end to listen to the afterwards. This is something you can do at home. You're just going to need to jack it up over here by the differential here. I recommend a quality set of jack stands, and you're going to put those on the pinch welds on the left and the right side just in front of the wheel. So what we're going to be doing is deleting the rear mufflers on this to give it a better sound and give it a little bit more pep in the throttle. To make this job as simple as possible, I recommend using some penetrating oil and spray it on the exhaust hangers. So on this car, there's 3 exhaust hangers per exhaust, left and right. So there'll be 6 in total. You're going to spray all of these, just a couple little dabs. That'll help these hangers slide off when you go to remove them, make it nice and easy. The only other thing you need to spray down is the exhaust bolts here at the back. So there's only going to be 4 of them, 2 on the left, 2 on the right. Just give those a good little spray. Now that you got everything sprayed down, you can go ahead and remove the 4 bolts just in front of the axle here. So go ahead and remove these. I'm using a 14 millimeter. 2 of the bolts were easy to get to with a ratchet like this. 2 of them were not, so you're going to have to do them by hand. Hand tools is perfectly fine with this. So go ahead and remove these bolts. They have a spring on it to help cinch everything together. So you're going to remove these and save these. We're going to reuse them. Now that you got all 4 of the exhaust bolts removed, we're going to move on to the next step. To make life easy, I'm going to be using a pair of exhaust pliers. These are about 25 bucks. I will link them up in the description of the video. And if you don't have them, you can use the pry bars to pry off the exhaust hanger. So there's going to be 3 on each exhaust. So 2 on the back and then 1 right here just before the where the bolts are. We're going to pry those off. Well, I'm going to show you how I use this. So you just put this on the end of the stud here, put this behind the bushing and squeeze, and that'll pull the exhaust hanger off. So I've pulled the first exhaust hanger off. Now I'm going to do the second one here. It's a little bit precarious to get to. I tried a few different angles before I finally found the right angle to get it off. So as you can see, I'm trying here on the left, and then I went through the back side, and now I was able to get it that way. Also, if you notice, I used my free hand to lower the exhaust down. Now what I'm going to do is just kind of rest this exhaust system on my shoulder because I'm using a hoist. If you're doing this on the ground, you can just let it rest on the ground. Now we can go ahead and remove the rear exhaust hanger and pop it off. Now the exhaust is free. So this kit came with new polyurethane bushing, so we're going to go ahead and remove the remainder portion of the exhaust hangers, and you can dispose of those or keep those if you like. So each side is going to have 3 of these exhaust hangers, so go ahead and remove those. Now we're ready to install our new polyurethane exhaust hangers. To help install them, I recommend putting a little bit of silicone-based grease on the holes here, and that'll help slide them on much easier. If you don't do this, it'll fight you a little bit, so go ahead and lube them up. So go ahead and install all 3 of them per side. So this kit did not come with an exhaust gasket. The exhaust gasket here is made out of like a graphite material. It's cone shaped, and 99% of the time they're perfect shape. You can reuse them. So I'm going to do that. If yours is in bad shape, I recommend going to your local dealer and getting a new one. So make sure that they're on here, and now we're going to install the exhaust system. So the first thing you're going to do is hook the back exhaust hangers here. So there's hooks on the new muffler, our new exhaust system here. You're going to hook those through and just press them in. And once you get these pressed in, now you can lift the exhaust up and install the rear hanger. So now we can go ahead and reinstall the bolts here. We're going to put these in with the spring and slide them through. The new one does not come with a nut that's welded on the back side here, so it comes with a nut in the kit. So you're going to push the spring through and then start the nut. I had to use a pair of pliers to start the first one and kind of squeeze it together, and then went ahead and thread the bolt on. The rest of them I was able to start without squeezing the pliers and the spring-loaded nut or bolt that they have there. So go ahead and start those, and then after we get those started, what we're going to do is we're going to center up the exhaust. Now that the bolts are started and just finger tight, we're going to adjust the exhaust system here to make sure that everything's level, nothing is rubbing on any brackets or anything, and not touching anything. So I have an exhaust stand here that I'm going to use to hold it in place in the perfect position. If you're at home, you can use a floor jack or something to kind of jack it up and hold everything right into the right perfect position, and just make sure that nothing is touching or rubbing on anything and everything is centered up. And then we're going to tighten these bolts up, and there's a certain pattern, so you're going to go back and forth, left, right, and draw them evenly. So now that you've got it all leveled out, we're going to go ahead and tighten these down, and then we'll double check it at the rear. So if you notice, I went a little bit on the left, and now I'm on the right side of it. I'm doing it a little bit on the right, and I'll go back and forth until it's fully snugged up, and then about a quarter turn or so more. Because this bolt has a spring on it, it's not going to be feasible to use a torque wrench and get an accurate torque on it. So just snug them up until they're good and tight on both sides, and everything is centered. Guess I better hurry up. My next appointment just showed up. Now that it's tightened up, I'm going to double check, make sure everything is centered and there's no rattles or clicks or ticks or anything. So now you can duplicate the exact same process for the opposite side here. Before I do that, I wanted to show you the difference between the custom exhaust on the left and the stock exhaust on the right. Now this is what it's going to look like with both sides installed. As you can see, the muffler delete install is a very clean looking install. Here is the stock version first. We'll start up and rev, and then here comes the after. As you can hear, it's a big difference. I will link up all the tools that I use in this video in the description. I'm Brian Essick from How To Automotive. I'd like to thank you guys for watching and encourage you to subscribe.